श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I forgot to say Prabhupada Pranati. Prabhu, you can do it, Prabhu, please.
Yeah, sure, Himalaya. So, such a beautiful way you cited. It's so heart touching. Thank you very much for that.
Hari bol, Prabhu.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चाता देशधारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासुदेव गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण। Just wanted to ask Gayatri ji, would you like to do the Jai Radha Madhava if you're okay?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yes. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधवा कुञ्ज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. That was so wonderful, Gayatri ji. It's so joyful to see all our devotees nicely sharing and singing Mangalacharan as well as Jai Radha Madhava. It's always a nice start. Prabhupada has just always introduced that before we start any Krishna Katha or Bhagavad Gita class in the temple. So this is the tradition that we are following always, not just to remember Radha Gokulananda. And as you are just chanting this, and we feel Sanchita Mataji has joined with a beautiful picture of Radha Gokulananda everywhere. I find here. Sanchita Mataji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we had a good start with Mangalacharan and
Yeah,
Jai.
it was a very nice Kirtan. I just only heard a little bit by Gayatri Mataji.
Yes, very nice. Yeah, I think it's very beautiful when everyone is taking part in this. So we are, so you're going to just dive into the Krishna Katha. And before that, as we always remind ourselves how auspicious Krishna Katha is, because I feel in today's world, as in Hinduism over the centuries, a lot of things have become very ritualistic. So in the new generation, people start questioning, what do we get by listening to Hari Katha? What do you get by doing this? What do you get by reciting the mantra? But we are taking this knowledge directly from the Guru Parampara, and we are sharing this knowledge with everybody, so that in Sanatan Dharma, everybody becomes knowledgeable. Because in Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita says, like, with knowledge, armed with yoga, oh Arjuna, stand up and fight. So all of us, we have to be armed with the knowledge, pass on this knowledge to everyone. And it is so important, especially I was just thinking about it, like, as we speak, Indian delegation after the Kashmir thing that has happened, they have been sent to all the different parts of the world. The Indian delegates are going to the different parts of the world to go and explain the reason why we had to do certain things, like why we had to go and destroy the terrorist camp, because we just want to make sure that the right knowledge, right information is being passed on. And also to make sure that whatever we've done, it's a Dharma Yuddha, which means based on the Dharma. We don't go and do things just out of in a flimsy way, but we do things. But Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita mentions that Arjuna, when all the peace talks have failed, and when the time has come for the Kshatriyas to stand up, and you have to stand up and fight, at that time you can't just walk away when a situation. So there will be situations where you'll have to stand up, and we'll have to voice, and we also have to share the right knowledge with everyone. And so it's important as Krishna conscious devotees that we share this knowledge from Krishna, coming from directly from Krishna, from the Guru Parampara, and they spread this knowledge with everyone, so Sanatan Dharma is like full of knowledge. It's not just ritual, but it's also full of knowledge. In fact, Bhagavad Gita is a book of knowledge. It's a book of yoga. And so it's very important. I felt like that we have to remember, and as Krishna mentions, Krishna says two things very clearly. Jatasya hive dhruvam richam dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyate natvam sochitam arharsi. Arjuna, one who is born is sure to die, and after that one is sure to take birth again. So in the unavoidable discharge of your duties, you should not lament, you should go and fight. So even though Krishna talks about transmigration of the soul, Krishna also mentions that there is an exception, that after death, a birth will never take place. And when will that happen? When he says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti takritaha chaktudeham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, the only exception that we will not come back into this material world taking birth is when we are those devotees who are listening to Krishna's leelas, Krishna's divine pastimes. Those devotees towards the end of the life, we will not come back into this material world, but Krishna is giving us the highest benediction that he will take us back to Krishna Loka, where we will reside eternally from Krishna. And this is the place from where we all have originally come from. So Krishna, through in such a loving Father, he's giving us the greatest benediction that all you have to do is listen to my katha. That will purify your consciousness. That will help you to develop love for Krishna. Because we cannot go back to Krishna Loka unless we have developed love for Krishna. So how do we develop love for Krishna? There are multiple ways. One, by listening to Krishna Katha. Two, by always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And three, Sadhu Sangha, by just always and following the Guru Parampara and associating with the devotees. And always serving Krishna. Only when we are serving, we can develop love for Krishna. And that is the way. That is the process that has been given by our acharyas. And today I was thinking about it, that Prabhupada went on the mission to fight for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to fight the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went on that mission. He didn't go on his personal mission, but he went on the mission of his guru, who had asked him to go and fulfill the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the holy name. And when we see that in spite of all the difficulties, Prabhupada was Krishna giving him all the strength because he was going on the mission of Krishna. So if we can mold our lives in Krishna consciousness in such a way that we are doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna, then Krishna will give us all the spiritual strength to fight our battles. All that we have to do is change our consciousness from being ego conscious to Krishna consciousness. And if you see on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, this is exactly what Krishna has done for Arjuna. Krishna did not give him S-400. He did not give him fighter planes. He did not give him anything. He did not give him deadly weapons, nothing. He just did one important thing. He changed the consciousness of Arjuna from being ego conscious to Krishna conscious. That's all he has done. He changed his consciousness. By the end of speaking that, Arjuna said, I got it, Krishna. I'm going to do everything for your pleasure. And this is what we have to keep in mind. Do everything for the pleasure of Krishna. Samsiddhim haritoshanam, which means doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna. And that is what Krishna consciousness is all about, doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna. Samsiddhim haritoshanam. So we have to keep that in mind, that how auspicious it is to listen to Krishna Katha, because this is the highest benediction that Krishna has given us. And having said that, now we are diving into this beautiful Leelas of Krishna. And we covered this beautiful chapter. There is so much of nectar flowing in. And by Krishna's grace, by the grace of Radha Gokulananda, we have covered 62 chapters. We dived already into 63rd chapter. And the most important in Sanatana Dharma, the greatest personalities, the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of God is Sri Krishna. And we also know about Lord Shiva, very well known in our Sanatana Dharma. And here you can find that these Leelas, how the Leelas are unfolding, where Krishna is taking one side and Lord Shiva and Ganesha and Kartikeya taking the other side. Like sometimes, like in the Indian cricket team, we all have the great Indian players in one team. But then again, when it comes to IPL, the same Indians, like they join one Mumbai, and another joins Gujarat team. So like that, they split up and they fight. But again, when it comes to fighting for India, they're all standing together. So similarly, these are beautiful Leelas. We always have to keep in mind that anything that Krishna does, what we do is karma. What Krishna does is Leela. And so we have to always keep that in mind. So even though Lord Shiva is taking the other side, we all know that Shiva is the one who actually said in Gita Mahatyam, the glories of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Shiva himself says, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Eko Mantrasya Tasya Namani Karmape Ekatasya Devasya Seva. If there is one Supreme Lord in Sanatana Dharma that you have to worship, that is Bhagavan, Devaki Nanda, Sri Krishna Bhagavan. If there is only one book that you have to follow, that is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, spoken by the Supreme Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So we'll all have to understand that Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, and we also know that when you step into Vrindavan, we always have to take the blessings of Gopeshwar Mahadev. So there's always a beautiful Leelas. We already spoke about it, how Lord Shiva was waiting to see baby Krishna when he Balagopala, and how Mother Yashoda was, so scared that she didn't allow him. But Lord Krishna cried and asked for Shiva, and then Shiva finally came and seen him. So these are beautiful Leelas that we can always reflect on, and this helps us in developing love for Krishna. And interestingly, when I went to this place called Nanda Bhavan, they showed this is the place where Lord Shiva was actually standing and waiting to see Krishna. You know, the place is also there, and the people will just show you when you go to Nanda Bhavan. So having said that, Lord Krishna fights with Banasura, and we all know about Aniruddha, Lord Krishna's son, Pradyumna's his son Aniruddha. He's actually was with Usha, who's actually happens to be Banasura's daughter, and we seen, like, you know, how when Anuruddha did not return home, then the whole of Dwarka, including Lord Krishna and everybody, just goes to fight against Banashura. And Banashura was given a benediction by Lord Shiva. He got 1,000 arms, and he was like, and he was personally protecting him and things like that. So when it came to actually the fight between Banashura and the Yadava dynasty, including Krishna Bhagwan and Sri Krishna Bhagwan, so we find that beautiful Leela unfolding where Lord Krishna was directly fighting with Krishna, Lord Shiva, and Shiva released his Pashupati Astra, and Lord Krishna released the Narayana Astra, which is the supreme weapon, and then the yawning weapon. And we also seen how Lord Shiva released his most deadliest, the Shiva Jwara, which was released by Lord Shiva, and then Krishna released the Narayana Jwara, which is again a weapon of coldness. So a weapon of heat, extreme heat, was counteracted by Krishna's Narayana Jwara, which is actually a weapon of coldness. And then we seen that this Shiva Jwara, which is personified a form of so Shiva Jwara, he finally taken the shelter of Krishna, and he was offering his beautiful prayers to Krishna. And yes, we're going through those beautiful prayers. And this is another, again, these prayers are very important because in Dwapara Yuga and in those times, every devotee or every personality were there. They were highly elevated. They had such kind of a spiritual knowledge, which was just amazing. So we covered to some extent, to protect the demigods and then so I want to just get started off with one of these. Yeah, can we just ask one of our devotees? We can just start reading. Maybe we can just start from here and do it. Anyone would like to volunteer for another paragraph? Hare Krishna, Paritosh Prabhu or Hemlata ji, anyone would you like to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll read.
Yeah.
Is it from My Dear Lord?
Yeah, you can read from there.
My dear Lord, your appearance as the son of Vasudeva in your role as a human being is one of the pastimes of your complete freedom. To benefit your devotees and vanquish the non-devotees, you appear in multi-incarnations. All such incarnations descend in fulfillment of your promise in the Bhagavad Gita that you appear as soon as there are discrepancies in the system of progressive life. When there are disturbances by irregular principles, my dear Lord, you appear by your internal potency. Your main business is to protect and maintain the demigods and spiritually inclined persons, and to maintain the standards of material law and order. Considering your mission of maintaining such law and order, your violence towards the miscreants and demons is quite befitting. This is not the first time you have incarnated. It is to be understood that you have done so many times before. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So one of the things we all know, the very famous sloka that Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata Abhyutanam Adharmasya Tadatmanam Shrajam Yaham. Whenever there is decline in the religious principles and whenever there is an imbalance that is happening on this planet, where the people of righteousness are being challenged by the people or with demonic mentalities, and we've seen that from time to time, whether it was Ravana during Treta Yuga or whether it was Hiranyakashipu in Satya Yuga or whether it was Kamsa in Dwapara Yuga. Lord Krishna mentions that he kind of he manifests in different avatars. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanardaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So that very clearly mentions, Hyojavara is talking about this one, translates to the same sloka that we talked about, to benefit your devotees and to vanquish the non-devotees. And we all know that one particular festival which recently happened was the Narasimha Chaturdashi, where Lord Narasimha, where Krishna has appeared personally for his devotee, for the love of his devotee, Bhakta Prahlad. And it is so important for us to understand Bhakta Prahlad's story is such a story of inspiration, which tells you so many beautiful things. One is like having the faith that Bhakta Prahlad had in Krishna. Avasya Rakshabe Krishna Viswasa Palana. Of course, my Krishna will always protect me. Why? Because Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya Prati Janihi Name Bhakta Pranashati. Krishna assures his devotees, he assures through Arjuna, he wants to broadcast it to the whole world. Arjuna, you are my favorite devotee, and you broadcast it to the whole world that a devotee of Krishna will never perish because I will always keep protecting him. But we all have to understand that even though he appears as a son of Vasudeva, it is just one of the pastimes that he appears in the mind of Vasudeva, goes into the heart of Vasudeva, and from there he gets transferred to Devaki. So like that, Krishna he comes and appears out of his own potency. All of us, we are born out of our karmic reaction. Because of our karma, we get born. But Krishna, out of his own leelas, out of his own potency, that he appears into this material unit. And we all know, we've seen in the beginning that Bhumi Devi actually goes crying to Brahmadev, saying that there's so much of imbalance in this material world. I'm not able to take it anymore. Please kindly help. And that's when Brahma goes and meditates, and when Lord Krishna appears in this material world to set the balance. Whenever there's disturbances, Krishna appears by his internal potency, and when Krishna appears, he himself by his own internal potency manifests. The Hladini Shakti manifests in the form of Radharani. And that beautiful sloka, which actually one of our senior devotees mentioned, which I really like, Radha Krishna eki atma duhi dehadari anyone vilase rasa ashwadana kari. Radha and Krishna, eki atma, they're only one supreme soul, but they appear in two different spiritual bodies in a loving relationship with each other. So for many people who do not understand, the relationship within Radha and Krishna, this particular sloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us that both Radha and Krishna, they're just one, but they appear in two separate spiritual bodies in a loving relationship. So when Krishna comes into this material body, it doesn't depend on anyone for his leelas, for engaging in this transcendental loving relation. He, out of his own Hladini Shakti, appears in the form of Radharani, who happens to be the greatest devotee. And that's the reason why anyway you see, we will always be worshipping Radharani first, even including the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as well. So Krishna coming in the form to put an end to all the demoniac people. And we see that whether it is Kamsa, whether it's Jarasandha, whether it's Rukmi, anybody who has come into this material level, no match for Krishna at all. Just like how you would handle an ant or anything like that, how simply they were all compared to like that. They were just no match for Krishna. Krishna would just even jump onto Kamsa and just kill him just like that. So that is the power of Krishna. And here we can see that the Shiva Jwara is expressing that these beautiful multiple incarnations of Krishna. So beautiful, directly addressing the Supreme Lord. Anyone would like to do the next one? Gayatri ji, would you like to? Or Parjesh Prabhu or anyone else? Hemal Prabhu, would you like to?
Is it starting from my dear Lord?
Yeah, that's right.
Dear Lord, I beg to submit that I have very greatly chastised by the release of your Narayan Jwara, which is certainly very cooling, yet at the same time severely dangerous and unbearable for all of us. My dear Lord, as long as one is grateful, the Krishna consciousness, one is grateful of Krishna consciousness, driven by the spell of material desires and ignorant of the ultimate shelter at your lotus feet. One who has accepted this material body becomes disturbed by the three miserable conditions of material nature. Because one does not surrender unto you, he continues to suffer perpetually.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So one of the important thing, we can see the power of when Lord Shiva released the Shiva Jwara, Krishna released the Narayana Jwara, which was actually a cooling weapon. It went and counteracted the Shiva Jwara. And I think all of us can relate to that. Gauranga Devi Masudi, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we've seen that how, as Lord Shiva released the Shiva Jwara, which has contracted a weapon of extreme heat, that it was multiple times the heat of the sun. So imagine how it would have radiated, and that was cooled off, contracted by the Narayan Jwara, which was like a weapon of coldness, which went and contracted. And that's when we've seen that Shiva Jwara coming to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. And as you can see, this is the humble prayers that are coming from Shiva Jwara, who's finally surrendered to Krishna. That the release of Narayana Jwara is so, it is cooling at the same time severely damaged and unbearable. So you can imagine how deadly the weapon of Narayan Jwara. It is the ultimate weapon that nobody can counteract or defeat that particular weapon. And it's his realizations. These prayers are so important because these prayers give us realization. We either, many times in life, either we learn from our own life, or sometimes we can see the lives of others and we can learn from that, right? We don't need to go through every bad experience to understand the consequences of doing certain things. Sometimes we can look at other people and say, like, oh my God, this has happened. I mean, I have to learn this lesson. I shouldn't be, like when somebody is suffering because of some certain habits. Let's say a person who's used to drinking and finally he lands up with with spoiling his liver. That this is so dangerous and let me not do that. So similarly, like that, everything, we don't need to experience everything in life. We can learn from others' experience. So like that, similarly, the Leelas, we can develop this love for Krishna and we can develop the mood of prayer, because many times we do not even know how to pray. We do not know what to pray for. Sometimes we'll ask, yeah, God, give me this, God, give me that. But main thing is, through these prayers, we can get to know the realizations and how powerful, how beautiful the prayers should be, how wonderful the prayers is. So like in this case, he was saying, my dear Lord, one who's forgetful of Krishna consciousness, driven by the spells of material desires. So like I said, always say that Bhagavad Gita can be easily understood when it is linked with Krishna Katha. If you can happily, coolly listen to Krishna Katha in the association of devotees, you can understand Bhagavad Gita much, much easier. In fact, many times you find people saying, oh, Bhagavad Gita is such a high philosophy, I don't understand it at all. But it's not, it is in the initial stages. In fact, all of us, we've been that route, right? We started trying to understand one sloka and we're scratching ahead. And then again, we come back and then slowly starts creating, because Krishna says, ye yatamam prapajyante tam sataiva bhajamiham. According to how much of love that you have for me, how much of eagerness that you have, enthusiasm you have to learn about me, I will also slowly start revealing myself to you. So it is not a geography or a history book, but it is a book of realization, where Bhagavad Gita is slowly, Krishna is, through the Bhagavad Gita, is releasing a little by little about himself to us. So we know from Krishna here in Bhagavad Gita, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasa vyavasayatmika buddhi samadona vidiyate. Krishna Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita that one who's so much addicted to material opulences, sense enjoyment, people who are drowned in sense enjoyment, they think that this life is mainly to enjoy all the sense gratification. People who think that my main aim is to become something, material opulences, I want to become this, I want to become that. So having so much of passion for all this, when people who are drowning in this material opulences and sense enjoyment, Krishna says for those kind of a devotees, the love for devotional service toward Krishna will never take place. And this is the reason why, like, sometimes you may ask somebody to come to the temple because you care about them, but they will say, well, why are we going? No, why? I'm not coming to the Krishna temple. I'm going to go out and enjoy somewhere. I'm just going to the mall and go shopping, or I'm going to go to a theater, or I'm going to do something else. Why am I going to the temple now? I'll do it when I'm growing old. That is because the consciousness is so much contaminated by material desires. It is so contaminated by opulences, thinking that this life is only meant for that. Why? Because they do not have a higher taste. So Krishna is explaining to this. So this particular point, my dear Lord, as one is forgetful, driven by material desires, you can understand through Bhagavad Gita that this is what Krishna is saying. But at the same time, Krishna also says that even though you will not have the love for Krishna if you are too much engaged in sense enjoyment and material opulences. Krishna also says that Visaya vinivartante niraharisya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopasya param drisva navartate. Even though there's always, the senses are running after the sense enjoyment, but once you get a higher taste of Krishna consciousness, once you get a higher taste of being with the devotees of Krishna, once you get a higher taste of singing the kirtans for Krishna, because you see, right, when we go to Harinam in London, People do not even know what a Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I have personally experienced this in London. So a few weeks back, when I was there for the Harinam Sankirtan in London, we were just chanting all around on the road and just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We were dancing and everybody on the road, they were like just coming and dancing along. They don't know what a Hare Krishna Mahamantra is. But they were seeing, like, when they were seeing all the devotees nicely dancing and chanting and, like, doing the drums, and one person is doing the kartal, they were so excited. Even people from another religious faith, they do not even care, like, this is Hinduism or this is Sanatan Dharma. They just came and joined us. Why? Because they seem like there seems to be like a higher taste. Visaya vinivartante, param drishtva nivartate, which means the higher taste. So once they see that these people are so joyful, these people are so happily chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so they also come and join, They come and join and they also want to take part in that. And this is what it is. And this is what Krishna consciousness is all about. It's all about giving a higher taste to the people. But if the more you're contaminated by material desires and sense enjoyment, the lesser you will have attraction towards Krishna God. But if there's any pinch of balance in your life, then definitely Krishna consciousness will pull you more and you will feel more and more joyful. Krishna consciousness, Pratyagavagam Susukam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this Krishna consciousness is so joyful. It is not like you have to sacrifice and leave everything. No. You can be in the association of devotees. You can enjoy the Mahaprasadam. You can chant for Krishna. You can dance for Krishna. This is a moment of dancing and chanting. So, which is what he's saying. Like, and on the other hand, if you do not take to surrender to the Krishna, which is what it is mentioned, because one does not, he continues to suffer perpetually. Why he continues to suffer perpetually? Because then, if you're not surrendering to the Krishna, then you are surrendered to Maya. You are under the influence of Maya. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Krishna says, even the ego, the self, we all think that we are all the one, we are all ruling over the things, I am enjoying. But Krishna is saying it is the material energy. It is the one which is controlling. We are just like puppets in the hands of the material energy. The soul, under the influence of false ego, thinks that he is the doer of all the activities, but in actuality, everything is done by the three modes of material nature. So this material nature is making us dance like puppets in this material world. One day it will give us some good news. One day it will put us in a different situation. One day, because of our karmic reactions, the material energy is constantly putting us like in a turbulence boat. And so we are always covered by this Mahamaya. But then if we take to the lotus feet of Yogamaya, if we take to the lotus feet of Subhadra Devi, we take to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Bhagwan, then we are totally exempted from we come under the control of Krishna and not under the control of Maya. Daivi Hayesha Gunamaya Mama Maya Duratyaya. Krishna says, this material energy, Arjuna, it's very, very difficult to cross, Arjuna, but those who are surrendered unto me, they can cross over this material energy. You see why it is important to surrender to Krishna? Because Krishna will come, because this material energy is working under the direction of Krishna. So if we take to the lotus feet of Krishna, then this material energy will turn into Yogamaya and make our life much more, and it will take us to the lotus feet. And by accepting that, we will be completely under the control of Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Matchitta sarva durgani mat prasada tarisisi atachetva mahankara na soshiti na samshti. So if we take to the shelter of Krishna, if you're practicing Krishna consciousness, you'll be completely liberated, and you'll be able to overcome all your obstacles by the grace of Krishna. Krishna, these are the final words from Bhagavad Gita. Matchitta sarva durgani. If you take to the shelter of Krishna, you'll be able to overcome all kind of difficulties. So here, after hearing Sivajara, Lord Krishna is now replying. So beautiful prayers, isn't it? Shivajara was offering his prayers. Now, after hearing Shivajara, Lord Krishna replied, "O three-headed one." So we can understand from this that the Shivajara was having three heads. I am pleased with your statement. Be assured that there will be no more suffering for you from the Narayana Jwara. Not only are you now free from the fear of Narayana Jwara, but anyone in the future who simply recollects this fight between you and the Narayana Jwara will be freed from all kinds of fear. After hearing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Shiva Jwara offered respectful obeisances onto the lotus feet and left. So you can see how beautiful this Leela is. So many times we have to understand, listening to Gajendra Moksha, listening to this beautiful Leelas of Shiva Jwara and how Shiva Jwara is surrendering. So here Krishna himself is saying that you will be freed from this fear, and not only you, but anybody not only are you free from the fear, but anyone who's in the fear, who's recollecting this fight. So many times, when we have, so when, they say idle man is a devil's workshop, like when you keep your mind idle, it goes in 360 degrees and all over the place. But if we can keep our mind occupied by the leelas of Krishna, then we start developing love for Krishna. Then our chanting will become so beautiful. And everything that we do for Krishna will be beautiful. From time to time, we should always recollect these beautiful leelas, how Lord Shiva releases Shiva Jwara, and Lord Shivjara, how he's taken to the shelter of Krishna and offering the beautiful prayers. So from these leelas, we can understand that everybody is eligible to take to the lotus feet of Krishna. So even though Shivajara was trying to attack Lord Krishna, when Krishna released the Narayan Jwara, it came to the realization, because this Narayan Jwara gave the realization for Shivajara. So I know Shivajara has come to the senses, just like how Arjuna says, finally, the illusion has gone and now I can go and fight the illusion. So we are all covered by this illusionary energy of the Lord. But when, by the mercy of the Lord, by the Narayana Jwara, Lord Shiva Jwara could come out of this illusion, and now he's able to surrender to the lotus feet. So in our life also, we have to come out of this Mahamaya and go to the lotus feet of Yogamaya and lotus feet of Krishna. And remember all these beautiful leelas, because Krishna himself is saying that anybody who recollects these beautiful leelas of Narayana Jwara will be freed from all kind of fear. And fear is such an important factor in this material world, isn't it? Padam padam vipadam. Every step there is a danger in this material world. So by listening to this beautiful leelas of Krishna, we'll be freed from all kind of fear. We will get this kind of a confidence. I'm sure like all of our devotees can relate to us that no matter how many tribulations that we feel in this material world, when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, when we are serving Krishna, there is some kind of a coolness in our mind. We can say tranquility of our mind, a certain kind of a confidence in you that you are under the lotus feet of shelter. You know that Krishna you're serving Krishna and you're under the protection of Krishna, because even if little bit of thing for you do for Krishna, Krishna becomes very pleased. He'll never forget. Prabhupada used to say, even if you do a little bit of service for Krishna, Krishna is recording it in his book, in the Krishna book. Okay, this particular devotee has done so much for me. Neha Vikramanasosti Prachavayo na Vidyate Swalpam Abhyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahatavat. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Even if you do a little bit of thing, it will save you from the greatest dangers of fear. And it's so ironical, isn't it? That is exactly what Krishna is saying. It'll free you from all kind of a fear by listening to that. Swalpam Abhyasya Dharmasya. So this is what we are doing. So this little bit of service will protect you from the greater dangers of fear, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. And here, this little bit of service is listening to Harikatha. This is the service. Or chanting the Hare Krishna Maha. This is the service. And when we do this service, Krishna says it will protect you from the greater dangers of fear. And Padam Padam Vipadam. So this is a place of suffering. It's a place we do not know when. Every day some problem comes. We lose somebody, or something happens to us, something goes wrong professionally, personally. So this material world is designed like that. It's not your fault. It's the Kali Yuga, the Kali Prabhava or the influence of Kali is like that. So the only way we have is to take to the lotus feet of Krishna. And through this Leela, Krishna is making it very clear that even if you are my enemy, but if you are taken to my lotus feet, then I'm going to give you my shelter. Just like Lord Ram also, he was ready to forgive if Ravana leaves all this and takes to the shelter of Krishna, of Lord Ram. So that is the kindness of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is so kind. Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepisyu papayanaha sriyo vaishyas tata sudras tepi mam param gatim. Krishna says, everybody, it is not like, Harijans are exempted, or people of lower community are exempted. No, Krishna says anybody who takes to the shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, who takes to the shelter, they can attain Krishna Prema. They can attain Krishna Bhagavan. There is nothing like Sudras cannot attain, or Harijans cannot attain, or somebody from the lower community cannot attain, or woman cannot attain. Nothing like that. Krishna says his lotus feet is available for everyone. And he's ready to forgive and he's ready to bless. Just like the way, even though Shiva Jwara was so powerful and it was coming to attack Krishna, because it taken to the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna says, okay, I'm forgiving you, and I'm just not only forgiving you, I'm releasing from all kind of fever. Anybody who's listening, they'll be released from all kind of fever. So beautiful, isn't it? So from this Leela, we can understand that Krishna is so kind and merciful. All that we have to do is just surrender to Krishna. And how can we surrender to Krishna? 4 things. Manmana bhava mad bhakta majjadimam namaskuru mami vaisisi yutvaivam atmanam matparayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer your obeisances to me and worship me. How can we always think about Krishna? By always chanting his name. Become a devotee of Krishna by daily listening to Bhagavad Gita. And offer your obeisances to Krishna. Do your pranams to Krishna. And finally, worship Krishna. How easy it is to worship Krishna. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhakta prayachati tadaham bhaktya upahritam asnami prayatatmana. Just one flower, one fruit, a leaf or water early in the morning, Krishna says, if you offer me with love, I will happily accept it. So beautiful. The Supreme Lord is so kind that he gets so pleased just by doing a small thing like this. So can I ask anyone if you can read the next paragraph? Hare Krishna Vindan Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Saru Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Sorry, I'm late.
Dandvat Pranam Prabhuji.
Sorry, my late.
Hare Krishna, Sham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hello,
Krishna,
Pranam.
Saru Prabhu. Saru Prabhu, would you like to read this? Are you, if you're not outside or somewhere?
Yes, I can
Yeah, please.
read. One second. In the meantime, Banasura somehow or other recovered from his setbacks and, with rejuvenated energy, returned to fight. This time, Banasura appeared before Lord Krishna, who was seated on his chariot with different kinds of weapons in his 1,000 hands. Very much agitated, Banasura splashed his different weapons upon the body of Lord Krishna like torrents of rain. When Lord Krishna saw the weapons of Banasura coming at him like water coming out of a strainer, he took his sharp-edged Sudarshana disc and began to cut off the demon's 1,000 arms, one after another, just as a gardener trims the twigs of a tree with sharp cutters. When Lord Shiva saw that his devotee Banasura could not be saved even in his presence, he came to his senses and personally came before Lord Krishna and began to pacify him by offering the following prayers.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's so beautiful. You read a very wonderful Leela that's unfolding. I can't tell you how joyful it is just to read. Like, sometimes we may not realize how powerful and how beautiful Krishna is. Krishna is called all attractive. But behind this word called attractive is like the Supreme Bhagavan Sri Krishna with all the power, all the beauty, all the opulences, 6 opulences. And many times in this material world, if you know someone very powerful, we feel very, very proud. I know this president. I know that particular person. I know someone very powerful. But imagine just knowing the Supreme Lord of the universe, Devadideva Sri Krishna Bhagavan. And that love we can get when we listen to the beautiful explanations coming from great devotees like Bhishma Pitamaha. When Yudhishthira asked Bhishma Pitamaha, what is the greatest dharma in a human life, then Bhishma Pitamaha, without even hesitating, he very first thing that he says, Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Purusham Anantam. Krishna says the greatest dharma, Yudhishthira, is to worship the Supreme Bhagavan, Devadideva Sri Krishna Bhagavan, the God of all the gods. So we have to understand how great Krishna is in order to develop our love for Krishna. So we can see that Banashira, who is actually the son of Bali, who was actually trying to protect along with his army, because he's had the benediction from Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva himself gave this benediction of 1,000 arms, and Banashira was very proud of that. We've seen that in the earlier chapter, that his arms were, his hands were itching. He was literally ready to fight with anyone because he got 1,000 hands. He has to show it on someone. And because he couldn't find somebody to match his strength, he went and started banging against the mountains and breaking them because he's like, this is idle man's worship is a devil. Idle man's mind is like a devil's workshop. So that's how it's turned out. Like, he wanted to it's itching him to go and fight against. And Lord Shiva tells him at that, don't be so egoistic. In future, you will be facing the wrath. Even though I have given you this benediction, don't feel so proud about that, because you're going to be facing the music. And this is exactly what is happening. Now, Banashira, he was looking forward to Lord Shiva. He was looking at Ganesha and Kartikeya. We've seen that the fight that was unfolding between Balaram, Krishna on one side and Shiva and this. And then Banashira tried to show his strength, but he was in no match for Krishna and Balaram. And we've seen that. And now that he's recovered and with this, renewed energy, because after all, at the end of the day, he's a Kshatriya. So he began to come back and regenerate and again come back to fight with Krishna. But we've seen earlier through all the Leelas, whether Krishna fought against Rukmi, who's the brother of Rukmini Devi, or whether it is Jarasandha or anyone. Now when he comes to it as a match for Krishna, and Krishna here is seated with and Banashara is fighting against Lord Krishna. And Krishna, we've seen that even though he was releasing different weapons upon the body of Krishna, Krishna's body is transcendental. It's not like a material body. And for Lord Krishna, nothing comes as a match to him. Even though he was trying to unleash all different kind of weapons, Krishna takes simply the Sudarshana chakra and began to cut off all these 1,000 arms. So we can understand. And the analogy that is being given, Srimad Bhagavatam is so beautiful. The kind of analogies that is given, just like a gardener trims the twig of a tree with a sharp cutter. Can you imagine? Like we've seen that, right? We got a big garden over here, and we see, like, early in the morning when we go, we see those cutters, but the guys come with the sharp things, and they can just simply cut down, the branches, or they can cut down the grass, everything, just like that. So Krishna used the Sudarshana chakra so simply, just like how a gardener trims the twigs of a tree. So you can, of course, you can imagine how powerful it is, and especially when it comes into the hands of Krishna. Not only just a Sudarshana chakra, the very last word, Sarva Praharana Yuddha. So in the last words of Vishnu Sahasranam, one of the names of Krishna's is like anything that Krishna touches, it can turn into a weapon. So that is the power of Krishna. So here Krishna is directly holding the Sudarshana chakra. It was very interesting. Once I was listening to an interview by Indonesian president, even though that Indonesia is a Muslim country, and the prime minister there, or the president, I think his name, and they said, like, they asked him, like, who's your favorite person in life whom you really admire? Then he said Lord Krishna. And I was quite surprised, actually, like, the president of the country, or he was saying that. And then they asked him, like, Krishna, like, yeah, Krishna is very powerful, he's got a Sudarshana chakra in his hand. Oh, that is amazing, and all that. So he was like, so he was so amazed by the beautiful Krishna. So that's what Krishna is. Krishna can attract anyone, even though it could be like, somebody from another religious country, president. He still is enamored by the love by the power of Krishna. Similarly, very interestingly, India recently, when we were fighting this, this terrorist that has come from across the other country, and India used the S-400. Interestingly, they called the S-400 a Sudarshana chakra. You know that it was called a Sudarshana. Very interestingly, and very interestingly, it was that Sudarshana or S-400, which was a game changer, and that's the reason why we were able to, defend ourselves and nullify all the effects coming from across the other countries. So it's very interesting. So here we can see that when Lord Shiva saw that, even though Shiva gave a benediction to Banashara, that Banashara himself asked, I want your benediction that you will protect my kingdom. And even though Lord Shiva was personally coming there in the battle and trying to fight on behalf of Banashara, but he was no match for the power of Krishna. And Lord Shiva realized that even though he's given this thing, he's not able to save his devotee. And we also seen that earlier Lord Krishna released this yawning weapon, which makes Lord Shiva full of fatigue, and kind of like, he starts yawning by the release of the yawning weapon that was coming from Krishna. Pashupati Astra was counteracted with Narayana Astra. So like that, we can see that the ultimate weapon is the Narayana Astra. And now you can see that Banashara could not be saved in his presence. And then Lord Shiva himself came and started pacifying the Lord Krishna. So we don't say Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Bhagwan just like that. Our knowledge of Krishna as the Supreme Lord is based on Srimad Bhagavatam. It is based on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhava mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all the spiritual and material worlds, Arjuna. Everything is emanating from me, and the wise who knows them, they take to the devotional service with great determination. So the wise Krishna devotees are taken to the lotus feet of Krishna, because we know that Sri Krishna Bhagavan is the Supreme Lord. Not that we know from Bhagavatam, but if you take even Brahma, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadir Adi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So Lord Brahma himself is praying to Krishna, Sarvakarana Karanam, you're the cause of all the causes, you're the Supreme Lord, So we take our knowledge from Brahma, we take the knowledge from Lord Shiva. So we can hear through this Leela, we can understand it, that even Lord Shiva had come in front of Krishna and tried to pacify the following prayers. And who wants to be the lucky one to just read this beautiful prayers of Lord Shiva? We should do that.
May I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Sanjita Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Lord Shiva said, "My dear Lord, you are the worshipable object of the Vedic hymns. One who does not know you consider the impersonal Brahma Jyotir to be the ultimate supreme absolute truth without knowledge that you exist behind your spiritual effulgence in your eternal abode. My dear Lord, you are therefore called Parabrahman. Indeed, the words Param Brahman has been used in the Bhagavad Gita to identify you. Saintly persons who have completely cleansed their hearts of all material contaminations can realize your transcendental form. Although you are all pervading like the sky, unaffected by any material thing, only the devotee can realize you and no one else. Prabhu, shall I continue?
Yeah. It's continued, I think. Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In the impersonalist conception of your supreme existence, the sky is just your navel, fire is your mouth, and the water is your semen. The heavenly planets are your head, all the directions of your are your ears. The earth, Urvi, is your lotus feet, and the moon is your mind, and the sun is your eyes. As far as I am concerned, I act as your ego. The ocean, your abdomen, and the king of heaven, Indra, is your arm. Trees and plants are the hair of your body. The clouds are the hair of your head. And Brahma is your intelligence. All the great progenitors, known as Prajapatis, are your symbolic representatives. And religion is your heart. The impersonal feature of your supreme body is conceived of in this way, but you are ultimately the supreme person. The impersonal feature of your supreme body is only a small expansion of your energy. You liken to the original fire, and your expansion are its light and heat. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Such a beautiful. It is, imagine this is a prayer of Lord Shiva for Krishna. So there can't be anything more beautiful than that. We have to learn from Lord Shiva to understand about Krishna, who can be a better one, like Gopeshwar Mahadev. So before we enter into Vrindavan, we take the blessing of Gopeshwar Mahadev to really enjoy and relish the stay in Vrindavan. Similarly, if you want to relish the love of Krishna, we have to know Krishna or Bhagavatam through the eyes of Lord Shiva. Like Prabhupada said, with our own eyes, we cannot see the sun, but with the knowledge of reading about the sun, we can understand about the distance behind the sun and how the sun is, more details about the sun through the. Similarly, if you want to know about Krishna, we try to get to know through the Vedic instruction, not by our own intelligence, by we try to see Lord through the eyes of our Shastras, and we can see. And my dear Lord, you're the worshipful object of the Vedic hymns. And we've seen that Krishna himself is saying, so whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, everything we can see that reflected by the devotees of Krishna, or we can devote by the Supreme Lords, or the demigods like Lord Shiva. And through their prayers, through the prayers of Brahma, through the prayers of Shivadvara, we can understand to know about the greatness of Krishna. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मतास्मृतिर्ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैस्य सर्वरहम् एव वेदो वेदान्तकृत वेद एव चाहम्. Krishna says, indeed, I'm the compiler of the Vedas, and by all the Vedas, I am to be known. So Krishna says, I am to be known. The whole purpose of reading the Vedas is to understand that Sri Krishna Bhagavan is the Supreme Lord. That is the purpose of reading the Vedas, to understand the main thing is to that who's the worshipable deity behind all this. That is the purpose of the Vedas. And Lord Shiva is telling about that you are the worshipable object of the Vedic hymns. So whatever Krishna is claiming, or the same thing Arjuna also said, Krishna, you said that you are the Supreme Lord, and Krishna already told in Bhagavad Gita that I am the source of all the spiritual material worlds. And and Arjuna is saying, Krishna, the same thing what you told, even Narada Muni is telling, Vyasadeva is telling, and now you are also telling the same thing. So the truth that Lord Krishna is telling is corroborated by all the other devatas, by the demigods, by the great gurus. Everybody is singing the same in sync what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. And this Brahma Jyoti, one who does not know you, that you consider the impersonal Brahma, one who does not know you consider, because a lot of people in this material world, there are so many people on having a different level of consciousness. And some people do not understand. They also think that, oh, this world is a supreme Brahman, and from that Brahman comes Krishna and Rama, and this is how they understand that the Lord is, that this is nothing but a supreme Brahman kind of thing. But Krishna makes it very clear through Bhagavad Gita. Brahmano hi pratistaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya hi dharmasya sukasya ikantikasya cha. I am the basis, the impersonal Brahma. Krishna makes it very clear, this Brahma Jyoti, I am the basis. From me, this Brahma Jyoti is coming. In fact, the Krishna Loka or the Goloka Vrindavan is illuminated by Brahma Jyoti, or the Brahma effulgence of Krishna. There is no sun or a moon on the Krishna Loka. Krishna makes it very clear. In order to really give us like a teaser of his Krishna Loka, he says, right, Natad Basayate Suryo na Shanka na Pavakaha. He says the supreme abode of mine, Arjuna, is not illuminated by sun or moon, by Brahma Jyoti, which is coming from my body. So Krishna is making it very clear that this impersonal Brahma, or the supreme Brahma, the basis of that is this Krishna Bhagavan himself. And he's therefore called as Parabrahma. This is what even Lord Arjuna, like even the great devotee Arjuna mentions, that was his realization in Bhagavad Gita, right? Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. That's his realization in Arjuna, realizes in Bhagavad Gita. Halfway he tells that, Krishna, you are the supreme Brahman, you are the supreme, you are the eternal truth, like that. They mentions about that. So I would like to just stop at this, and I want to just again go back into this, because there is so much that we can cover, and I just want to really relate it to Bhagavad Gita, because what Lord Shiva is telling about here, there's so many things that we can draw from this, and I want to just get back on this and just share a little bit more on this, because these prayers and these kind of quotes are very, very deep. They're very deep, and we can draw so much of precious knowledge and wisdom from these beautiful prayers of Lord Shiva to Krishna. So we will continue that in next week. I'm just being very respectful of everybody's time. It's just 6 minutes past 9, and I wouldn't like to just hold you back. But the nectar is very difficult to control. We feel like, no matter how much we keep reading about Krishna, Krishna is unlimited, and it's always so inspiring and so joyful. The more we listen to Harikatha, the more our consciousness will be purified, and the more we will be able to develop love for Krishna, by which our chanting will be deep. And then towards the end of life, Krishna says that even if you don't remember me, I will remember you and take you back to Krishna Loka. So I want to stop at this. Any comments, realizations, and corrections, or anything else, please. Vrindavan Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
No, Prabhu is very good. Krishna Katha, everyone happy.
Yes.
When your mouth.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Amazing.
Saurabh Prabhu has so nicely mentioned about your Ratha Yatra, and Saurabh Prabhu, thank you for that. It was very nicely he's mentioned that, and I posted in our group as well. I think sometimes we do not know the selfless sacrifices and the seva that a great devotee, wonderful devotees like Vrindavan Prabhuji are doing in India. And then I feel, as followers of Krishna consciousness, we all have to do our bit, and including myself as well. I'm a fallen soul, but I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of devotees like Vrindavan Prabhuji and all of you. Yeah, thank you, Saurabh Prabhu, for sharing that, and it's so important for us to.
Thank you, Shyam Prabhu. I just wanted to say one quick thing for you and Vrindavan Prabhu. Vrindavan Prabhu, I haven't met you, but it's just when I saw the video of the Rath Yatra, 2 videos that came into our group in your village, it was just very joyful to see the joy of so many people, so many devotees at the festival. I think that was quite touching, actually. So I just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. And we all have because, there are saying that, how precarious the situation is over there. It's turning out quite a challenge, and it's very unfortunate living in our own country of Bharat that we had to face such kind of challenges. But it's the mercy of pure devotees that are ready to take all kind of risks for glorifying the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's vision. And one thing you have to keep in mind, just feel like Saurabh Prabhu has his profile pictures, Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, and Vrindavan Prabhuji is actually doing all the seva for Lord Jagannath. So when we are doing for the love of Jagannath, Lord Jagannath will make all the he will make sure that the Rath Yatra will be successful. That is my faith in Lord Jagannath, and I'm sure it's going to go well. Vrindavan Prabhu will all do our bit, and yeah, all glories to your service, selfless service, and trying to serve Lord Jagannath. That's very wonderful. So thank you very much for sharing. And I shared already the details of the Lakshmi to be given in our Bhagavad Gita group, as well as Sanchit Mati, you mentioned also in the other three Sangha. So it's all in there.
My just a request, Prabhu, would be that that Vrindavan Prabhu keeps our Sangha in mind, and everyone gets a chance through him to be part of his mission, his what he is doing, and
Yeah.
so that on an ongoing basis we can be part of this uh, his great work, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we all have a stake. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the people who are born in the land of Bharat and who are there, we all have a responsibility more than anybody else in the world. So we have to take that responsibility every little bit. It's not necessary how much it doesn't matter, but even if you learn a little bit, Swalpam Abhyasya for Krishna, if you can do a little bit, all hands, little bit, that will help go a long way. So thank you very much. So my humble thanks to everyone for taking your time to listen to Krishna Katha. I'm so happy to be reciting in the Your Association, and the nectar is flowing. That's why I stopped, because next week I want to continue the Lord Shiva's prayers and Krishna, and how we can elaborate on those prayers and how we can link it with Bhagavad Gita. That's going to be waiting for next week, Thursday. So I can't wait for that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
I asked him to, whoever have holiday, I come to attend to my Jagannath Raja Jatra, full after Jagannath, Rashi. Anybody can have holiday, can come to my Ratha Jatra. And I invitation everyone, not any single person, everyone, everybody.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Please.
That's really nice of you. I wish I was there. I could have definitely joined, but yeah, Krishna's Leela. He just keeps us planted in different places. So he's planted you over there. Amoga Prabhuji, anything that you would like to say about this today's katha or anything else, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It is very wonderful, Prabhuji. It is nice and relishing. So just was remembering one of the that Lord Shiva and his instructions, his prayers. Just one thing he was mentioning, and that is a devotee mentioning. Uh, Krishna speaks to Mother Parvati. What is the best vrata to be performed? Then Lord Shiva is mentioning, Vratam kuru mahabhage trishu lokeshu durlabham sarvasreshtasya putraste vratadeva bhavishyati. And he mentions, Vrataradhyasya vai Krishna sarvesham vanchita pradaha jeno yatsevanan muktaha pitrubhihi kotibhihi saham. हरिमंत्रं गृहीत्वा च हरिसेवां करोति यः भारते जन्म सफलं स्वात्मनः करोति च वृज्जित्य कोटि पुरुषान् वैकुण्ठं याति सुनिश्चितं श्रीकृष्ण पार्षदो भूत्वा सुखं तत्रैन मुहदते सहोदरान् स्वपुत्र्यांश स्वबन्धून् सहचारिणः स्वस्त्रियश्च समृज्यत्य bhakto yati harehe padam. So a person here, what is the important thing? Buddhritya koti purushan. A person who is performing Hari mantram gruhitva cha Hari sevam karoti yaha, who has taken the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and engaging himself in the devotional service. Bharate janma sapalam swatmanah karoti chaha. A person take the birth in the Bharata Varsha. Bharate janma sapalam swatmanah karoti chaha. What he will do? Buddhritya koti purushan. He will elevate 1 crore people. Vaikuntam yati sunishchitam. Definitely he will take 1 crore people to Vaikunta. Sri Krishna Parshado Bhotva Sukum Tatraina Modate. So they will become the Parshada of Sri Krishna. And who are these 1 crore people? Sahodaran, the people who are born in the same womb of a mother. Swabhutyamsha, and all the servants. Swabhundun, all the relatives. Sahacharinaha, who are accompanying with him. Swastriyascha Samdrutya Bhakto Yati Harehe Padam. So this is very beautifully Lord Shiva explains to Mother Parvati, a person who is chanting this Hari Mantram Gruhitvacha, Hari Sevaim Karoti Yaha. See, Buddhritya Koti Purushan, he will take 1 crore people along with him. It is the statements of Lord Shiva.
Beautiful.
It is Brahma Vaivatta Mahapurana,
Oh,
Ganapati Kanda, and it is the 3rd chapter, verse number 30 to 34, Prabhuji.
Oh, beautiful. Prabhuji, if it is online, would you like to just share the link, Prabhuji? It's so beautiful. I mean, even to listen to that is pure nectar, but only if it's possible, if it's there somewhere online, Prabhuji, if there is a link.
Yes, Prabhuji. It is in the education world, that link. I'll send that link, Prabhuji.
Yes.
It is in Sanskrit. I do have also the Telugu language one. I will send those one as well.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. It's like, it's so wonderful sometimes where I feel so inspired when I listen to some beautiful verses like this, explaining, because from time to time, I think we all need some inspiration from time to time and motivate ourselves. So when we have something like so nicely that you read about this loka, and I feel very inspired like that, it's so motivating and so much that we all need this, because in Kali Yuga, on our own, we cannot do our sadhana. We just need some motivation for us, and through the leelas of Lord Shiva and Krishna. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, yeah, wonderful katha. And after, thank you, Amoga Prabhu, for sharing that. That's like any information. I mean, he has shared so many nice references and Krishna katha from Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and it's there in one of the mobile apps like Veducation. If you download the apps, you get to read all the Vedas, Upanishad, Purans, and everything you can do online. I mean, on your mobile. So there's one person who is also from Sanatan Dharma. He is doing that.
Very nice.
Prajapati Prabhu. And yeah, that's one thing. And other thing is like after reading Lord Shiva's prayer to the Supreme Lord, and here we are getting this opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord Jagannath. So we should definitely take this opportunity. We have been helping Prabhu for last couple of years, but definitely we all get this opportunity to spread the mercy and get everybody involved. And sorry, Prabhu suggested like if we can do it as an ongoing thing for this as a sangha, that'll be. And whenever I spoke to Vrindavan Prabhu, it seems like an easy thing, but it is not actually. Yesterday also spoke to me, he was saying he's scared that, with the chief minister like Mamta Banerjee, who keeps on saying such things about Hindus. I mean, he's scared. Like every single time he's scared that, the adjoining villages are Muslims. Hope they don't come and interrupt the festival, so we can only pray. So though he organizes it very nicely with the help of his friends and devotees over there, and on instructions of his spiritual master, so we can see the love for serving in him, so we can pray as well as help him in some fundraising. So he himself, without asking, he's very shy to ask. Without asking, he spends 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. He saves for the whole year to just spend on his own, without asking. But only now, like it's becoming more people are coming. So early last year, it was I think more than 12,000 plus. So he had to feed prasadam on 3 days. It's like he needs a bit of support. So that's why we thought we'll share in our group and give everybody a chance to participate in this.
Absolutely. It's very sad that in our own country, we had to be fearful of other religions. It's very, very sad, actually. And the whole world thinks there's wrong information that keeps flowing in about us or something. So that's why it's so important. Krishna consciousness is so important for us to spread this message and kind of like arm everyone with knowledge, and so that everybody will stand together. It is so important in Sanatan Dharma. We are in this Krishna consciousness. We support each other. We stand hand to hand with each other. And that is so important. It's not Krishna consciousness or not some individual thing that I'm just going to do my bhakti and I'm going to leave from here. No, it's not about that. It's about serving Vaishnavas. It's about being with each other, being rock solid. That's why I always keep saying, forgive whoever comes your way, even if you had to go through a little bit of this. But from your side, just always support and encourage every Vaishnava and every devotee comes your way. Because everybody needs that encouragement, support, hand in hand. And whichever way that we can, sometimes we can help with money, sometimes we can help with something. In whichever way that we can just support each other.
Also Prabhu was mentioning, yes, Prabhu, that, they, Jagannath goes to his Mashir Badi, right? Like, to his aunt's house in Gundicha. So to have that Leela, they do not have any temple or anything. So one of the people, villager, they are very poor, but they, they took the initiative to have Jagannath for 7 days in their house. And who was mentioning that, like, in these 2 years, all the things, material things which got stuck because of different reasons, they started, showing some flourishment material also. So it's Jagannath's mercy, they're very poor villagers. They're just keeping Jagannath and serving prasad for 7 days. And just by doing that, Prabhu was mentioning, it's only that his language is a barrier. He speaks Bengali, so maybe sort of Prabhu, if you want, he can speak, and he'll share so much to really learn and absorb from him. So yeah. Prabhu,
Definitely, yes, Mataji, yes.
Yeah.
And just to say from what all of you are saying, and Shamprabhu, you are saying, this is why no matter what material impediments we might anticipate might come, Jagannath's mercy is such that he will take care of all that. And that's why we have to all stick together, not just whether we live locally or we live far. From all parts of the world, this should be supported. And if we are all together, it's never easy to come and deter anything like this. So that I think that's another side of why this endeavor, I think, should be supported. That's my thought.
Sure, sir. So definitely it's there, and your point taken is real unity. Yeah, unity is strength. That's a nice one, Hemal Prabhu. Let's do that. And that's from my core of my heart. I go with that mind whenever I go to man, like, today, let's encourage others. Let's support others. Even if somebody is sometimes when I go to the toilet and I see Matajis, they're just going and doing, youngsters, they're going and cleaning. And I just go and tell them, all glories to your service, because nobody is ready to do this kind of service, but you're doing. So like that, in every way, that we should support others. We should just encourage others. If you can say a good word, at least just lift up their day and make them feel more empowered and encouraged. That's something with the smallest effort that we can do in order to lift others and do more for Krishna. So yeah, thank you so much, Saurabh Prabhu, for that. We will all do our bit, and Vrindavan Prabhuji, thank you all to your service. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet again next Thursday. The prayers of Lord Shiva for Krishna.
Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
Kripa Sindhu Bhyavacha. Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Anantakoti Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Everyone, thank you.
And let's all say, please, three loud Hari Bols to Shyam Prabhu for the wonderful service he has taken, and he's been doing it. And we are in the 62nd chapter, Prabhu. Yeah, come really more than halfway line up. So it's really, really so. We have been listening to it for a couple of years, I guess, and it seems.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.